Why you shouldn't always be so forthcoming with certain things because with children because they take it so literal. Dude literally took it to the full extent of playing with his kids, and I mean playing with his siblings, and they took it to the extremist extent of playing dead. As a parent, me personally, I can never fall asleep, especially or as one that wants to become a parent. I don't have any kids currently. I could never fall asleep while watching my kids, or if they're at a young age thinking that they'll just be able to take care of themselves. No, I'm gonna Hawkeyes at all times. I'm gonna watch you. I'm that overly protective, overly alert, overly aware type of dude to where bad things aren't going to happen to my kids because I fell asleep on a job or I was careless or negligent. You know what I mean?
Yeah. A man and his girlfriend were in a McDonald's drive-thru deciding what to eat, but they were quite disturbed by the sinister voice on the other side of the intercom. When it was time to pay, the girl had to use the restroom, so she hopped out of the car, went inside, and walked into the stall. Suddenly, she heard the door swing open, and the person who walked in was breathing very heavily. She ignored it for a few minutes, but the breathing got gradually closer. She peeked through the crack of the stall when she saw an eye staring right back at her. She pretended like she didn't notice, but then the person said in a chilling voice, "How long do you think it'll take him to notice that something's wrong?" It was the employee from the window. She swung the door open, hitting him right in the face, and made a run for the car. He tried chasing her, but was soon stopped by her boyfriend, who knocked him out cold. He called the cops, and needless to say, this was the last time they visited McDonald's at night ever again.
Bro, how they make Ronald McDonald into it? I guarantee you nobody would have been going to McDonald's back in the day if this was the mascot. If Buddy really looked like this. Heck nah.
This is why you should always lock your door while you're driving.
A man just got off work and was driving home. It was about 2 a.m. and he came across a red light. It was one of those red lights that sit for way too long. The man contemplated on running the red light, but he wanted to be a good Samaritan, so he said, "I'll just wait it out." And this is where the story takes a very dark turn. So a woman sitting at a bus stop sees the man's car stopped at the red light, so she walks over to his window. The man then gets very worried as the woman approaches his window, and she looks at him and she knocks on the glass. The woman then signals him to roll down the window just like that. The man then rolls down his window just enough to have a small conversation. The woman looks at him and says, "I've been beat by my husband. Can you help me?" The man looks at the woman and notices that there's no bumps or bruises, so he's kind of eerie about this. The woman says again, "I've been beat by my husband. Can you help me?" The man just starts staring at this woman in shock. The woman then says the same exact thing over and over again. So as this woman keeps asking over and over again, the light suddenly turns green. The man looks at the woman and says, "I can't help you." The woman smiled and said, "You just saved your life."
Sometimes reality is stranger than fiction. In 2010, a couple renting a cabin in the middle of the woods finds the guest logbook tucked underneath the bed in the bedroom. After reading through it, they decide to call the cops. The final 5 entries are all by the same man. The first 2 are just talking about how great it is to be on vacation with his girlfriend. Then it starts to get weird. In the 3rd entry, he describes a stranger lurking in the tree line that doesn't respond to his waves. In the 4th entry, he hears knocking on the windows in the middle of the night, but no one's there. In his 5th and final entry, his handwriting is barely legible, and it just says, "It's in the bathroom."
The Taking of Deborah Logan. Why does this look like Deborah Logan, man? If y'all heard of that movie, maybe you haven't, but...
"We're going to die." The police show up and find the girlfriend's body in the basement. Next to her body was her purse, and in her purse was her phone. When they open it up, they see that she texted her mother one last time, and it just says, "Mike's starting to act crazy. I think he's off his meds again."
This is a scary story about the car crash. There was a couple driving on a lonely road one night when suddenly they saw a car that crashed into a tree. The man then parked his car on the side of the road and told his wife to stay in the car. When he approached the car, he looked through the window and saw a man and woman covered in blood, with their heads almost decapitated. He then looked in the back seat and saw a young girl who looked very scared. He then opened the door, picked her up, and took the young girl back to his car. He then put the girl in the back seat and started driving. He then told his wife that there was no survivors besides the young girl, but his wife did not answer him. He then turned to look at her and saw blood pouring down her chest. Her throat had been slit from ear to ear. The man then looked in the rearview mirror and saw the young girl smiling at him with a
Can't trust these dang kids, man. Can't trust these kids. This is the most sinister look of all time. Whoa. See a kid with this kind of smile? Steer clear. Stay far away.
bloody knife in her hand.
This is the creepy story of Lisa. There was a little girl who had an imaginary friend named Lisa. The girl loved to draw and frequently made crude drawings. The girl was so obsessed with Lisa that she even brought her to school for show and tell. The girl's teacher couldn't see Lisa, so she got angry. The next day, the girl's teacher didn't make it to school, and she never came back. Lisa's father got angry with her and told her that Lisa was stupid and fake. Shortly after, her father disappeared. Her mother noticed a drawing saying her teacher and her father are sleeping under the sandbox and will never come back. Each drawing was 100% real, and her father and teacher are still missing to this day.